Talking Passions today with Keith Hopewell AKA SPZERO and a couple of friends. How are you doing today, Keith? You alright?
Hello, I'm good.
Yeah, awesome. So today we're just going to talk about your passion for art.
Yes.
Wicked. As a young boy, what did you want to be when you grew up, and how did you get to where you are now?
Comic artist. I want to be a comic artist.
Cool.
But doing comics, you have to do too many panels that are all too similar, and it got a bit boring. Whereas when you can do one illustration or wall which tells the whole story, rather than, it's so much faster and more fun.
Yeah. So did you study art as a child?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm not a graffiti artist. I went to did illustration at university and everything. That's what brought me down to Bristol. But it was then that because they didn't have any graffiti in the small town I was lived in. So it wasn't until I came to Bristol and discovered the Walls on Fire event in '97, that just saw it all for the first time. And it was properly. You'd seen it in movies and stuff, but it was far-fetched. Further away, further afield, something you couldn't really do yourself. And then when I got to Bristol and discovered you could, it was cool.
So moving to Bristol is what got you into graffiti in the first place?
Yeah, I think so.
Wicked. Who inspired you then, graffiti artists in Bristol?
Just all the the Bristol artists really of the 90s. You got Sick Boy, Inky, Dicey, Feek. Just the list goes on and on. There's so many, China Mike and Will Barris, Duncan Jago, all those guys. There's just so many all back then. Just maybe Banksy before he was doing the stencils. He was doing he was at the Walls on Fire event doing freestyle spraying as well. So, but I remember going around. I've still got photos somewhere of all the artwork. Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah, when I was too scared to pick up a can myself.
How long did it kind of take to develop your style? Because you're very precise, your work's very precise. Spray
Again,
can.
I think that comes from reading comics when I was younger and wanting to do all that sort of stuff. I looked at the comics and they were all really sort of, tight. And it was just so I think it probably came from then.
Yeah. And just practice.
Yeah.
Where did the Tiki Man and various characters come from?
Tiki Man came from Hawaii. Dave was in Hawaii as well recently. 2 months. 2 months. But I went there not with Dave on my honeymoon.
Unfortunately.
With my wife when we went on a honeymoon, 4 years back we went to Hawaii and it was there that we saw the tiki masks and it just made me think, right, I want to do some tiki characters. But also the whole Hawaiian, and also the lifestyle and the laid back and the surfing, again mixed in with the Australian because I spent a year in Oz as well, and it's all a very laid back sort of lifestyle.
Wicked.
So they had to feature, and then there's other things the skull was something that I used quite a lot, when I was initially getting into the scene, and I just painted the skull constantly because I wanted an identity on the street. But then the problem was that when I was talking to illustration agencies and they said, do you have any artwork without the skull in? It was oh man, yeah. I never thought about that, for commissions and things like that. People don't want to see the same character over and over again, but for an identity on the street, it was something you wanted to look for.
Yeah.
But I think it's worked out now. There's a whole bunch of different characters.
Yeah, and their various adventures that they have around Bristol and beyond. Where did the name SP076 come from?
Well, I've actually dropped the 76 yesterday or the day before, because for 17 years it's been SP076, which I wanted to be solo originally, but there was an artist called Solo originally, and I just, even though I wasn't painting at the time, I was still exhibiting with a lot of the street artists. And everyone had a pseudonym, so I wanted to have a pseudonym as well. I want to play. So it was Solo Productions, SP, and I was living in room 0, so Solo Productions 0 Talent it became since 1976, because I wanted to be SPZERO, but I couldn't get an email address that was SPZERO. It'd already gone back in '99 when I got my first email address. So I had to go 76. But now I've dropped the 76. But it makes everything confusing because now my email address is SPZERO76. My Instagram's SPZERO76. But I'm actually going to be SPZERO. I don't know how it's going to work.
Okay, well, you heard it here first, folks. Well, your art has led to many collaborations with Bristol artists and
further afield.
Yeah. It was cool. And like obviously up first, and I know you did Ballmasters over the summer, I think.
Yeah.
What were your sort of highlights from this year, art-wise?
My favourite wall was probably the one we did today. But apart from the one I've just painted with Ellen, it would have to be the City of Colours, because it was such a big wall. It was just like a beast. We ended up, it was like the Lost Souls were on there, so it was me, Captain Chris, Squirrel and Cy Mitchell. But then we had Cheba joining us. We had Freedom was on the same wall. We had Title. We had Core 246. It was just, there was loads and loads of artists all in one, and it just flowed because Cheba was putting his space theme throughout the whole thing. It just flowed really well. So I think that was due to the size and the way it worked out, it flowed. It was my second favourite wall.
So tell us about your first favourite.
That was
today. So who's the artist you collaborated with
This
today?
is Ellen Stapleton. She's over in Europe from Australia, from Brisbane, for
6 weeks, travelling around Europe.
So
having a lovely time.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So when she said she was going to be in Bristol, it was like, right, we got to paint. So
Wicked.
But we dragged Paul Monsters into it as well. Ellen's very. How would you describe your art?
Oh,
it's probably better coming from you.
Very, very colourful, very elaborate and eclectic, and I don't know, very like being from Australia, we have a lot of influence from Asian sort of countries.
Yeah.
So I think that's filtered through into my work, and the outdoor lifestyle. There's a lot of nature. And, yeah, I study Buddhist art as well, so there's a little bit of Tibetan Buddhist influence in there.
Mandala.
Yeah, well, we did the mandala today.
I got it right.
Yes.
They kept calling it the Queen of Mandala.
Mandala, they're for meditation, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or can be.
Yep. Yeah.
But and then we dragged Paul in as well. So Paul Monsters, who's the manager at Upfest, and he's very linear, sort of geometrical. Geometric shapes, and it's something new he's playing around with. So between the three of us, it was super colourful.
Fantastic.
And very bold, I would say, very bold.
Yeah.
Very colourful. Yeah.
It is. I've seen a picture.
It's been a long day. We were just glad to get a beer. We were
Fantastic. What is it about? I can ask you both actually while I've got you here as well, Alan. What is it about your art that you love the most?
I love the fact it gives me the opportunity to collaborate a lot. That's the best thing, I think. That's why we were talking about this earlier, and talking about canvases compared to walls. And canvases are very solitary. You just sat on your own, working on it. Unless you've got a studio, you can't. There's people who do mixed studios, but I don't find myself being very productive in that sort of environment. But when it comes down to a wall, everyone just chips in and jumps on it and cracks on when you're working it. Even, we only met yesterday, and straight after we met, we started painting. It was and it's come together really well.
And it's amazing that when you're painting with different artists, they bring different parts of you out that you wouldn't necessarily do if you were working on your own.
Yeah.
And I think every time I've painted with a different artist, I've then developed a little bit of my style, and then that filters through to the next pieces I do.
It's true.
Like a journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do find we're collaborating with lots of people. You always you just find things. Even if it's just the way they use caps they use, or the way they different people do different things. There's one guy. Cranial I've never painted with, but I've heard that he basically puts the filter because his lines are so tight, and I thought that I thought my lines were okay, like, and then I see his, and they're just like it's spitty tight, but apparently what I've been told is he puts a filter on his nozzle, so the paint goes through the filter, and then when it comes out super thin, like, so it burns its way through the filter, and then when it comes out, I don't know how long it lasts before the whole filter falls to bits.
Wow. Yeah.
But
so you can learn from each other.
Yeah, everyone's got brings something, their own. Everyone's learned in a different way. So whether it's graffiti, street art, or Buddhist. It's just like it's a bit of everything. Everyone's got a different background and a different.
Yeah, but I think that's the beauty of being an artist. It is about this journey, and it's about you discovering your style and your way of painting. It's different. You can't just necessarily I never studied art. I tried to study art a few times, and I dropped out of every art course I ever did.
I hated it.
Yeah, because I couldn't be. I hated being told how to paint.
Yeah.
Or that sort of thing, and so I never really studied art, and it's just something that's evolved over the years. And so there's something about that when you really delve into your creativity and try and find the way you want to express yourself.
I did go to uni, but I hated it every minute though. It was just I was working at a bar in town, the Arnolfini, at the same time, and I just pretty much spent most of my time there and barely went into university. I was a big slacker back in the day.
But did you meet a lot of creative people at university?
I met a lot of the creative people down at the Arnolfini, the pub where I was working, because it's like an art house, cinema, and bar and stuff. So I just met loads of people there, and I did obviously know a couple of people on my course, but most of the people I went out drinking with were those guys.
Nice.
That's kind of how I got. A lot of them were street artists as well, so that's kind of how I got involved in doing the exhibitions with them.
And in the scene.
Yeah, rather than doing it through university, it was more through. Yeah,
you have to find the right people, don't you? You need to find your little group.
Yeah.
That you can
at first, I think
with.
and then it's just nice to meet everyone, paint with everyone. Yeah.
Well, finally, both of you, I've got you here.
I've dragged you into this now.
What is in the pipeline? What have you got coming up next?
See, I can never remember, because there's always things that are in the pipeline, and you don't know how definite things are until it becomes definite. There's talk of lots of different things. I mean, one of the guys I paint with Lost Souls, Captain Chris, he's organised he's been over in LA recently, and he's possibly sourced some walls. So that could be on the cards, but then I could be saying that in 5 years if I did another interview, going, I might be going to LA if I, soon, to maybe paint, so who knows, but there should be a big wall, in Burnham-on-Sea coming up, which I should be painting, on the side of a cinema, but then again, that's not entirely confirmed yet. I've got to give them the design. But yeah, there's loads of little projects.
I
don't know.
I've seen
it always seems like there's so much going on. There's always, as an artist, you always have all these little projects or all these ideas. There's always the ideas. If I had to write a list of all my ideas, it's just, I think it's endless. And I think probably I will end this life still having a million things to do. It will give you that purpose for a long, long time.
That's it. I've still got artwork for Collaboration Nation, working on that project still. So it's on stage 2, so I'm going to do artwork, which is this project where people someone starts an A3 sheet of paper, an illustration, sends it to another artist, who sends it to another artist, sends it to another artist, all around the world, until you've got 4 pieces on, 4 illustrations, all on one. I created the idea back in 2010, I think, but it was by the time it got through the 3rd experiment, called it experiment, it got too busy, so it's been run by a guy called Mr. Kobo now. But I still want to be involved in it, because it was my baby, really. But they've got some amazing artists. It got sent to my first piece got sent to Mr. Zero. You probably recognise Mr. Zero stuff. He's quite big, based somewhere in Europe. I'm not sure. And it's gone to Cram, who I think is somewhere in Spain. He might be Barcelona. He had a piece in one of the galleries I was in the other day. So it flies around all like all over the place. You should get involved in it as well.
Yeah.
Although sometimes it gets the reason it was so hard to organise was just like artists trying to organise artists is like it's like herding cats. That's what someone described it as one time. Trying to herd cats. It just it's like impossible. And so if you've got 50 artists who all say they want to be involved, and they all start a piece and they all post it to another artist. Some get lost in the post, some make it there, some artists disappear, and by the time you get to the end, you're struggling, and it was just so. I'm glad it's not my job anymore. I just have to do the drawing.
Yeah.
I'm the one who causes trouble now. Get Mr. Kobo chasing me up, going, "Have you done your second piece yet?" Dodging your email. Until tomorrow. I really am. Oh no, I feel bad now.
Just hope he's not listening.
Yeah.
Well, that was really lovely. Thanks for talking to me. And if people want to get hold of you, then they can find you both on Facebook.
Twitter.
Instagram is probably best for me. Ellen's Art, ELLENSART.
Okay. I'll be adding you up later.
Yeah. And currently SP076. Probably going to be SP076 on Instagram, but I might change it on Facebook to SP0.
Okay. Well,
just to complicate things.
Why not? Well, thank you very, very much. Take it easy.